Ascendance of the Bookworm is back with season 3. I just watched the first episode. Well, I mean, they did have like a recap episode, and it's literally just a recap episode. Nothing really new, except like it's. I think the first one. It's kind of like in two parts. The first one is basically the first season, like an overview of the first season, and then it's told with Lutz, who's Mine's friend, the blonde kid who wanted to become a merchant. He's kind of narrating it, and then the second half is the second season overview, and it's Gil, who is one of the retainers that the Mine gets through the church. He's the little boy that wasn't having it. Anyway, and then we have the preparations winter episode, whatever the fuck it's called, which is I guess like the first of the first episode of the third season. There we go. I like the music this time around. I think the ending is actually my favorite of the endings of the show so far. I think it's the catchiest. And again, they have you know how a lot of anime will have that transition halfway through the episode, and they'll have a card or something. Well, for this show, it's always been flowers, so they brought that back, and it's pretty flowers. That made me happy. It's something little, I don't know. But basically, Mine has to, she finished her book at the end of season 2, that all throughout season 1 she wanted books, but there weren't no books. She had to find a way to make books, starting from scratch, literally from the paper to the ink to pretty much everything. And then the second season, she goes to the church around the end of that, and then she finally makes her book there. And then at the start, as they're still making books, the Guild Books Company is selling those because Benno was hassling her about it. She's like, I'm not gonna sell the fucking book. She's like, sell them. That's basically the entire thing. His mind just, I want us to make the books, and he's just like, make profit, bitch. I love their relationship. Cracks me up all the time. It's kind of like sibling squabbles to an extent, which I love. They're just fighting like a bunch of kids. It's great. Entertaining every time. You can tell it tickles me. God. But, one of the first problems to arise is the same problem they had in, was it the first season? With parchment. They had a problem with, that guild or whatever it was. Basically, it was the paper made from animal skin or whatever. Well, because she made plant-based paper, that started to take a chunk out of the profit. So what they decided to do was basically make it so that official documents still had to be done with parchment. So they still had a secure income while she's still able to do her paper. And that kind of happens here, except it's the ink guild. So because she knows how to make ink now, her own ink, it's going to be a problem for them. But we didn't really see the parchment guild or anything. It just it was mentioned by Benno that they were going to have a problem with it. Where here is they actually started snooping around being kind of shitty. So that's kind of the big thing, and then you see one of these dudes that was inquiring about it from the Ink Guild is being paid off by someone. We don't know who, but it's very serious in tone. I expect some shit's gonna happen to Mine because they were paid off by them. They were trying to get to Lutz, so they're not the up and up. So right now that's the first episode cliffhanger is this guy's getting paid this huge chunk of stuff. And he needs to prepare for something, but he doesn't say what it is. But considering how they were fucking around for Lutz, trying to get Mine or information on Mine, and kind of meeting up secretly, you can tell some shit's about to go down. I won't be surprised. My first thought was is it the High Priest? He's the dude that she fucking choked out with her psychic powers. The one we wanted to punch in the face. At least I wanted to punch him in the face. So I have a feeling it's either him or maybe at the end of the second season, is when Mine had to do the ritual for the Trombe and the Knights and whatever, and one of the nobles, the Knights or nobles, decides to just be a fucking psychotic motherfucker for no reason, literally no reason. Wasn't talking to him, wasn't bugging him, wasn't being disrespectful. Just this other noble was just kind of politely explaining what the other knights were doing fighting the Trombe. Which is this tree thing that literally sucks up mana and devastate a whole fucking forest if it's not taken care of. The knight's gonna have to come in and take care of it with magic. Oh, that needs a breath there. And so the other guy, I think his name is Daniel, he's being just very polite, kind of explain what's going on. Not being shitty, not being condescending, nothing, just kind of explaining what's going on, and mine's kind of like, wow, like the head priest, the blue-haired guy that we like, he's he's fighting off, he's being cool. She's kind of like in awe, like, oh, that's cool, oh my god, I hope they're okay, you know. And then Shiki Koza, what the fuck his name is, green-haired twat, is what I'm gonna call him for now. He literally pulls out a knife and threatens to gouge her eyes out. She has done nothing to you. So already I don't like him. But he kind of ends up getting his comeuppance to an extent at the end of season 2. Where what he does is he cuts mine. Like he threatens to, but then like he accidentally does it. And her drop of blood activates another trombe. So then she's entangled in the fucking trombe now, about to be choked out by it. Which already, even if you didn't like her, how are you so stupid to not be like, they're battling a trombe. We're in a place nearby a trombe. She has mana. At the very least, we know that. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been a priestess in the first place. I don't know. Let's stab her and see what happens. Like, just right there, my argument, even if like, oh, she's a commoner, I'd be like, motherfucker, she had mana, you know, they eat mana, you know what the fuck a trombe does, you know we're all exhausted fighting these other trombe, why the fuck would you risk it, you twat, you almost kill us all. Because at the very least, he shouldn't have power anymore, let alone he shouldn't even be in the night squad. Because quite clearly, he's fucked up to the point that it was obvious he could have put people in danger, not just her. Like, that'd be like the greatest argument for them, well, she's a commoner, it doesn't matter, it's just like, no, you almost killed all of us too, you idiot. What you gonna say now, bitch? But no. He just kind of get told off by Ferdinand, who is the head priest. And, so it's him and Daniel get punished, and also Commander Karstead, because he selected those two to be her guards while they went off to fight the trombe. And, at the end of season 2, where Ferdinand uses this magic item to kind of see into Mine's past, like in her memories or whatever, and he finds out that she was reincarnated, and blah, blah, blah. He basically talks to Karstead alone at his house. I believe it's Karstead's house, yes. And then, basically he says, so Mine, she doesn't have any malicious intent, she really only cares about books. But, you know, she was reborn in this world that was more advanced than ours, and I believe she could breathe. Aaron has, which I believe is the country or whatever the fuck it is, just like extreme prosperity. However, she really has like no other interest but books. But if we use her properly, like, it doesn't seem like he's gonna use her, but it's not in like a shitty, like, I'm gonna force her to use her as a tool thing. He's like, no, she has information and things we need, but we're not gonna, like, we're still gonna take good care of her. We're going to use her knowledge, but we're not like using her, but like in a beneficial way for both. Like, he's not gonna like tie her up or something, like do some horrible shit to her. Like, he's gonna kind of like convince her, hey, help us out, probably. At the very least, it's very different from the others that would probably use her, you know. So, thank God this is going better than the Overlord season 4 review. Oh god, that was such a shitty one. I'm actually thinking of reshooting that one. Reshooting. This phrase does not work. Oh, that is so... Oh, follow yourself and uppity, ain't it? But I was thinking of redoing that because it went so bad. It was let me just rambling more than usual and getting confused to the point that, like, I think I need to go back and watch it and redo it again because it was fucking horrible, or just put it up and say fuck it. So anyway, I'm just happy that's going better. No, sidetracked. But he's talking to Karstead, and he's like, yeah, we need to make sure she's okay. So it might actually be a good idea to have her adopted by a noble. I think you should adopt her. And he's like, wait, what? So I was kind of like expecting it to start right off there. But no, Maya's just kind of doing her priestly duties, and then because of the whole fucking Ink Guild being some sneaky, suspicious motherfuckers, they decided to have her stay at the cathedral over winter earlier. She was going to do that in the second season because she has to do the dedication ceremony, and the whole reason she was able to get the blue robe priestess uniform and thing, which is only reserved for nobles, is because she is giving capital to the church, which they need, as well as mana, which they need, and she has both. But because she needs to, like, fulfill her duties, and they don't want the risk of her getting sick or getting trapped in a blizzard or anything, and they can't, get her and get there. So they kind of agreed for her to stay there over the winter, but now she has to do it earlier because, of course, these sneaky, suspicious motherfuckers. And, it's kind of where we're leaving out for episode 1. I do expect some people coming. Oh, I was saying how I thought maybe it was the high priest that was giving the Ink Guild my also second thought was maybe it was somehow connected to Shikiko's mom, because just before, like, it ends and the whole, like, we need to adopt her thing, Karstead informs Ferdinand, who's the head priest, that they're having a bit of trouble with it because Fernand is like, letting guess his mom is causing trouble, contacting everyone she can, right? Yeah, pretty much. So the mom's gonna be a cunt. So I'm wondering if that's involved. And it could be neither of them. It could just be another group that don't like her. I don't know. I love this show. It's one of my favorite animes. It still is. So I'm very excited. I'm worried for mine. And then there's the whole, like, the thing, this is the biggest thing for me, is, like, the end of season 1, or season 2, we learned that, like, her mom is pregnant with another baby. But the whole time, you don't feel the joy of that because you're just, like, immediately like, oh, fuck, what is the high priest going to do to try and use this against her somehow? So it's not even like, oh, boy, I get a new brother, sister, whatever. It's like, oh, great, we have another weakness that they can exploit us with. Fucking wonderful. So yeah, the mom is still pregnant right now. I don't know how pregnant she is, but she's definitely showing. Like, you know she's pregnant. I think she said they're going to be born in spring, and it's winter now, so whatever that is. I might be wrong. Anyway, we have the return of, Delia and Gilbert and Fran, who are Mine's retainers, and then Melissa, Rosina. I haven't seen Wilma yet. She's also another retainer. She's the one that does the drawing. Rosina's the one that teaches her the music. Delia is the younger female that's the same age as mine that kind of was working for the high priest. And we learned that she may still have connections to him, but it's probably more still if she can't just completely cut it. Because T is very influential. And basically she was taken in for the high priest to be like a mistress or something. Keep in mind, this bitch is probably under 10 years old. They're young. So, yeah, that's fucking creepy. Putting it lightly. Luckily, we don't see anything done to her. I'm hoping it stays that way, where we don't have to see any of it. It's just like a horrible detail that'll go away and she'll be saved from it later. But, But I like this show because it does keep, it never fails to keep, minding her goals. It never feels like she's some greater purpose. Like, even her taking over the orphanage is the reason she kind of did it. Like, she does care. Let's be honest, she does fucking care. But the biggest reason why is because, she couldn't enjoy her books, which is, her fucking thing, right? Like, she loves books. Doesn't matter what type of book it is. Doesn't matter if it's got pictures, if it's got a bunch of words, if it's expensive, if it's cheap, if it's a map. It doesn't fucking matter what type of book, what type of subject it is. She loves to read. And, it was she wasn't able to enjoy it. So that was kind of one of her driving factors. And that's kind of how she manages to convince Ferdinand to give her the orphanage director position. It's literally just well, I can't enjoy my books. And he's just like, you take on this responsibility. You're even dumber than I thought. Okay, fine, position's yours. So I like how she does have some selfishness to her. And it's never changed. She's never a white knight character. She's not a Mary Sue. She's not, I'm going to save everyone. No, she has her own fucking things. And it's generally what makes her happy, what's bothering her, what she prioritizes, not what everyone wants her to prioritize, which a lot of these stories, the main character always ends up being the one that's to fucking save everyone. I don't care what genre it usually is, and it's fucking irritating when you think about it. But so it's nice to see a character that actually has their own fucking ambitions for their own, thing. They're not just saving people to, I gotta save them because I can. No, it's not. She actually has shit she does to do, shit she wants to do, shit she doesn't want to do. So it makes her a more realistic, more likable character. Lutz is still doing his apprenticeship at the Gilberta Company. Benno's still being Benno. But yeah, I'm also dreading seeing the High Priest because I don't fucking like him. He's all nice to her at first during the first season because of the way she's dressed in her outfit, it looks more expensive, so they assume she's a rich kid or a noble or something. And then as soon as he finds out that her family's poor, that's when you can really tell his real personality in that. He immediately starts talking down to them, being shitty to them, just being well, I'm just going to take her, it doesn't fucking matter. You can't stop me. And then she Darth Minds him. I don't know who on YouTube made that, but I cannot stop uncalling it Darth Mining. Because she literally chokes this motherfucker out with psychic energy, and I will be honest, I have rewatched that clip at least 20 times. And it's funny and entertaining, and it gets me the tingles every time. There's that satisfactory of just fucking him up. Obviously, I know it's going to come and bite her later. But I don't... I don't know. I expect him to come up, but I don't want to see him. I mean, that's gonna fucking happen. It was really weird in like what was it, the opening of season 2? Like you see him like in the background, it's all like foreboding, like, oh, he's gonna come out and get you. Like, no, you don't really see him during the second half. I mean, you see him like bitch out orders where he's like, what? She wants the orphanage position. We'll give her the most obnoxious motherfucker there, and I'm also gonna send one of my whatever there and people to watch on her. Because Fran was sent by Ferdinand to basically someone that can help her, someone he trusts. Though Fran thought he was being abandoned at first, so he wasn't really okay with it. And then Delia was very obvious that she was a spy. She didn't even hide it. She was like, oh, the head priest told me to come here and give you a headache. And we're like, okay. They sent the wrong fucking person there. She is not subtle. And then Gil was basically just like the problem kid that was always bitching. Like, he's just like, yeah, you're a fucking governor, why should I respect you? I don't give a shit. I like you. Fuck you. She kind of won them over in season 2. I think Delia, even though they kind of just lead off of the first episode here for this third season, where she's like, oh, still connected to the priest, I think it's because she can't get out yet. I think she's definitely going to prioritize mine and her survival over the high priest. I don't think she wants to be with him anymore, because it seemed like she was genuinely won over by mine. Because there is a point where mine's doing something, I can't remember, and she sees them doing something, but she doesn't report it to the high priest, even though she knows she probably should, and she gets in trouble for it. So I think she genuinely does prefer mine, and I don't think she's going to betray her outright. I think at the very least she has to betray her. I think she's going to lessen it to an extent, like maybe give him information, but stuff that's not super important and can hurt mine a whole lot. Like, I think maybe her hand would be forced, but I don't expect her to like fully betray mine. I truly do believe she likes mine. She'll prefer mine as like her master. Anyway, but that is the first episode, and I cannot wait for more episodes. Obviously, more are definitely out now. I came late to the season. I wanted more episodes to build up. So, I don't know how many are out right now. But I think there's at least 5 or 6. Probably more. Right now on Crunchyroll. I forgot to mention that. It's Crunchyroll. At least that's where I am watching it. I don't know where else it is. Like, how subscribe to my other videos. Tell me what do you think about what's happening in the first episode. What are you worried about? What are you excited for? What do you think is going to happen? If you have any spoilers, please follow the God. Don't put them in the comments, or at the very least put like the spoiler in bold lettering, so us morons who don't pay attention can be like, well, at least we were warned, we just didn't look. And if you're reading the comments, expect to be spoiled. Okay, like, subscribe to my videos. Bye.